كل الشكر والتقدير للسيد يوسف خالد المرزوق مدير عام شركة نوف إكسبو الشركة المنظمة للملتقى. يسعدنا الآن حضورنا الكريم دعوة السيد مارك إيست مدير عام المبيعات والعمليات الدولية لقطاع التعليم في شركة مايكروسوفت لإلقاء كلمته، فليتفضل. Welcome, Mr. Mark.
Your Excellencies, honored guests, peace be upon you. I'm very pleased to be here today. If any of you after the presentation wish to send me an email, my email address is on the slide. So I've been asked to talk today about the great education transformation using digital technologies. People say to me wherever I go, when is this going to happen? When are we actually going to see digital education? Well, the truth is that really it's already taken place. Many schools and systems throughout the world are already using digital technologies in teaching and learning. So it's already happened. So what is the challenge that we have? Well, we've actually identified a new type of person in education. We call them fidgetals. People that can't understand between the physical or the digital. They're either unwilling or not wanting to make change, or they really don't know how. We really can't help those people that don't want to change, but certainly for those people that do want to change and want to integrate technology into the curriculum, that's something that we as an organization can certainly help with. So learning everywhere has changed. You know, 100, 200 years ago, you would see somebody standing up in front of the classroom. In fact, many schools you still see that today, unfortunately, but they would stand there and they will actually teach students by giving them the facts that they then learn. But today we know that in many, many different schools around the world, students are empowered to use technology for independent, systemic learning of their own, where they use a digital device to learn, and the teachers become more of a guide to their independent, self-paced learning. So everywhere we are looking, learning has changed, certainly in those schools using technology. And in the modern workplace where we all work in companies like for myself in Microsoft and many different areas, you're all using technology now to communicate, to coordinate meetings all across the country or around the world, to work on projects together, which is why many employers want to see more competencies, a competency-based curriculum rather than a factual-based curriculum. Competencies are what's required. And in fact, today's students that are entering education for the very first time will graduate in 2030. Now we know in 2030 that 70% of all new jobs will require IT skills. This is very important, the way we have to plan and think about education systems. It means, for example, why the British government, the United Kingdom, where I'm from, decided that they were going to teach STEM curriculum in primary schools. In fact, Microsoft actually helped write the curriculum for that STEM curriculum for the UK. So it's important that students are empowered using the technology that they use today to communicate with friends in their learning. Now, the other issue that we have, of course, there are social and emotional tensions about using technology in learning. So, for example, as I've already said, employers want to see more competency-based curriculum. They want to have students that know how to solve problems, that work with teams, that integrate very well together, because these are the types of skills they're going to need in their businesses. Students want to use technology to learn because they're using it in social. Teachers have to deliver a curriculum. And then probably you could also have another signpost, which are parents who mainly want to see great test results, but also hopefully they want to make sure their children are happy in school. So all of these things are competing with each other to figure out how do you integrate technology into a digital transformation project. Now, this is important because what we're seeing are the 6 key drivers of change. The first one is we're going to live longer. And if we live longer, the chances are we're going to have more than one job in our lifetimes. So you need different types of skills to be able to manage that. Secondly, robots. We are going to see robots taking over many of the different jobs. The automated roles will all be done by robots in the future. Whether we agree with it or not, that's something that's starting to happen. and it will actually increase, and we'll now start seeing artificial intelligence either used with robots or the robots in the cloud. When you call a call center, you'll be talking to a robot. So those typical jobs that were available before are going. The computational world is really about how you have sensors that are giving us data. Sensors maybe if you're driving, if you have driverless cars, for example, the sensors of the car on the road, that's all changing. It's going to mean that with sensors, you can do much more automation. New media ecology is where if you're communicating now, in the past when I was younger, I would read a magazine or a newspaper. But now you have video, you have graphics, you can see things in much more of a media-focused world. So that's changing everything too. Superstructured organizations is really where social, how we work with each other. A good example of that are products that we have in Microsoft where we're actually teaching and communicating different concepts and different themes in social media. That's all changing as well. And finally, in a globally connected world, in a world of globalization, it means a business here in Kuwait could be a global business. You don't need to be in different countries to be a global business on the internet. So these are all the drivers of change, and we have to think about this as we plan the education system. So Microsoft's mission is to empower every student to achieve more through technology. And one of the things that we often say is, how do we manage that? How do we think about helping governments and school systems to think about how that would change? So we come up with these, we call this the Education Transformation Framework. It's basically built around 4 key themes: leadership and policy, modern learning and teaching, intelligent environments, and technology blueprints. And we've broken that down into 16 different components of key things that we believe every government, every school system have to think about when they're actually building a transformational plan. Like, for example, if I look at intelligent environments, the design of new schools. How are you using power? How are you actually powering the schools? Is the classrooms large enough to sustain technology because the heat from the devices will make it warmer in the classrooms? How do you think about learning spaces and how you can be much more flexible in school design using technology? So all of these things, all of these 16 components, we typically work with governments and schools to think about all of these and help them with programs and products that we have which will actually help them transform. So how do we do that? Well, we're actually thinking right now of launching this program called Microsoft Flagship Schools. This is where we will actually take a new build school, a school that's just about to be built. They haven't even broken the ground, and all of the aspects of all of the components we're going to include in that school. So currently we're looking for schools all around the world to join the program, and then we will work with them to make sure that all of those aspects are included in this flagship school. They're not existing schools. They have to be designed the right way. And then we would put all of the Internet of Things in the schools and make sure that they really are a complete flagship for the rest of the school system to follow. So within my limited time, that is my last slide. Thank you for listening. If anyone wishes to talk to me further, I'm going to be around for a little while. Thank you.